Predator Killer of Killers is pretty damn awesome. I'm a huge fan, and so is Ewan, but it wasn't until this morning that I sat down and Ewan said, hey, did you notice that thing at the end? It points to the potential future of the live action side of things for Predator. Live service. I'm coming in from the gaming channel. I don't know, just go check out What Culture Gaming while you're on.
He's plugging instantly as well.
It's got to be done, but I didn't realize this thing that you told me. You kind of blew my mind a little bit, and we thought we'd do a video on it. What's going on with the future of the Predator?
Yeah, so obviously Predator Killer of Killers dropped last Friday on Disney Plus in the UK. I believe it was on Hulu in the United States, because I don't know, is that like a separate subscription thing? It is really weird, because, whatever. Yeah. It dropped last Friday, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who obviously directed Prey in 2022, which was the first truly great Predator sequel. I know people really like Predator 2. I think it's fun, but not as good as the masterpiece that is the original. Prey is great. And obviously, from that point on, there's been lots of discussion around, Predator as a franchise, how it's going to look going forward. And obviously, later this year, we have Predator Badlands coming out, which stars Elle Fanning as a Weyland-Yutani developed synthetic, and we focus on a, protagonist Predator character, which is really, really cool. But Killer of Killers, actually, even though it is an animated anthology that focuses on the Outja's various dealings on planet Earth over the past many centuries, it actually has more to do with the future of this franchise, and I think maybe has been let on. Okay. So, obvious spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it, or you don't want to be spoiled in general, just don't watch this. But if you do care about where this is all going, stick around, because it's very, very interesting. So
I care.
The final act of Killer of Killers obviously involves all our various heroes from throughout history coming together on the Predator planet to do a gladiatorial duel. We have the Predator King with his xenomorph spine cape, which is really, really cool. We have Janitor Predator as well, who is my favorite character in the Predator universe now. Just beeping on in there. Look at him. He's a great guy.
Disney, don't ever do a spin-off. Let the mythology of the Janitor Predator just be.
It needs to have his own Wilbur Hood Star Wars thing.
No.
You know what his story
Unless you Andor him, give me 2 gritty seasons, I'm okay. You can leave it.
So the ending has them get away, but one of the heroes, the Viking warrior, she stays behind, and it is revealed in the post-credit scene that she actually gets carted away in a Raiders of the Lost Ark style facility, which we see has just a smorgasbord of various Killer of Killers, various people that they have the Outja have abducted over the years, presumably people who have killed predators in combat before. And as we're going along, we see some fun aliens, some little fun times, and then we get a shot of Amber Midthunder's Naru, who is of course the protagonist of Prey. Now, I believe that most people, when they heard that a Prey sequel was announced, and that is separate to Badlands, Badlands is an independent, standalone kind of project, people assumed that it would have been set in the late 18th century, like the previous movie. However, that is not the case at all, because, well, I don't know if it's certain, but my big theory right now is that because Killer of Killers shows Naru on the Predator, I don't know if it's the home world or not, it's on some kind of gladiatorial arena that they have, I'm going to assume that the full Prey sequel, when it gets made, and it has already been greenlit, I believe probably contingent on how well Badlands does at the box office, I'm going to assume that the full Prey sequel is going to be Naru with various other warriors throughout history and across the galaxy fighting the Outja in space. Tim Curry in space.
In space. Do you then have to cast live action versions of the characters from Killer of Killers, which would be a cool way to bring them across. We talked about before we started recording as well the idea of bringing Dutch back. That's obviously been long talked about. There was Shane Black's Predator that apparently gave him a version of the movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't want to do. But still, that conversation around do you bring Dutch back? Was he frozen all along? If they're kind of, I don't know how much of it is the retcon in Predator lore that if you beat a Predator, they don't just give you a gift, they don't just give you a pistol, they freeze you and beam you up.
Maybe they just changed their attitude over time.
I liked it that they give you a little gift and said, good on you, man, no worries. It did
make me laugh. The funniest joke, apart from Janitor Predator here, was that when they were like, here, you have a weapon from each of your tribes, and they hand the pilot from World War II a little flintlock pistol, which is great.
Well, I guess to them, that's other humans very well.
I like the humor there, that the Outja are these, respectful hunters and stuff, but they don't know everything quite to such a detail.
I can't load build this thing.
But yeah,
that feeling, though, I was going to say that whole idea of being like, no, not only if you beat a predator do you get given a gift, you're left to live on Earth, but they hoover you up, they freeze you for X amount of time, and then they unthaw you when it's right to have the most ultimate challenge that you could possibly have. That would be one of the only ways that Disney, Fox, whatever, could bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger if they want to. Is that money? I don't know.
It's interesting because the concept of a gladiatorial predator-themed movie goes all the way back to the 1990s. There was a planned Predator film which was going to take place in a gladiatorial kind of context, and you would have had various human survivors, and I believe Dutch was optioned as a potential kind of character for that, fighting their way off this predator planet. And I would love to see a movie where, and again, this is maybe getting a little bit too fandom Disney brained, but I would love to see it if maybe at the, like, Dutch is this wizened old gladiatorial figure, and he comes out and he's like, and you know, he's taking on everyone. Everyone's
he gets
like,
subtitles
wow.
for that.
Yeah, so I kind of would be down for that, but I'm so Arnold Schwarzenegger pilled at this point that you could put him in anything and I'd watch it. But interesting idea.
Yes, my overall thing is that it's really fascinating to see how much Disney / Fox are reviving Predator and Alien. Like, I mean, I loved Alien Romulus, but it was very, very safe. It felt like their Force Awakens of that series. And for me, I think it is interesting seeing how much money they're putting into both these franchises, and then you have all these conversations around wider lore about how do you make this stuff go on for another 10 years, another 20 years, whatever. What seeds do you plant? Which characters do you go back to, etc. And there's mention, you know, from Dan Trachtenberg, who's kind of the Kevin Feige of Predator at this point, having done Prey, Killer of Killers, he's going to do Badlands. And then you've got dude from Alien Romulus,
Fede
Alvarez, who's a Big Tractor's friend, who's like, hey, we'll do an AVP crossover thing.
They call Dan Trachtenberg the Tractor.
Big Tracks. They're like, hey, we're going to do a crossover AVP thing going forward and then flesh all that stuff out. And it's like, we're getting the Alien TV show. I hope it continues to be curated well. I don't trust Disney at all, and so I just hope that going forward it feels as good as it does right now.
I think the thing that Predator has over Alien is that it feels less kind of dredged than Alien does at this point. You know, we've had numerous sequels to Alien. We've got the ridiculous, you know, the TV show coming out at the minute, you know, Romulus last year, then the Ridley Scott prequels that came out a few years before that. You know, there is a level of IP mining that has gone on with Alien that far exceeds Predator, which obviously is a big franchise in and of itself, but it's kind of got that late 80s, early 90s action movie charm to it, and the fact that the lore goes so deep. Obviously, you know, the comics done by Dark Horse were hugely popular in their time. They're kind of forming the basis of what we're seeing Dan Trachtenberg do with these films. I believe there's at least... there's a more compelling argument and a more sincere bent to going further with this than there is necessarily with Alien, which I've always thought was more contingent on specific creators' ideas, specifically Ridley Scott and his ideas of like humanity's origins and existential terror and stuff. Whereas in Predator, it's like this is just a fun genre mishmash that pulls from different materials. We know that Badlands, I believe they've kind of they've put like Conan as like a big kind of inspiration behind it in terms of what they're doing with like with the character of is it Dex or Dex, the young Predator?
Has he got a name?
I can't remember what his name is. He's got a name. It's not Dexter Jetster from Star Wars Attack of the Clones, but he's got a name. So I feel like, you know, there is at least a more sincere bent to this, and judging from what Trachtenberg did with Prey, that's basically how I would do a Predator sequel. Like, I feel that the big issue with Predators and, well, less so Predators, but especially Shane Black's The Predator, was they were trying to MCUify it and kind of sand the edges away. Whereas with this, it's like, well, no, this has always been the compelling hook to Predator, is that you put him in you put the Outlaw in a different setting each time, and you do something really fun with it, and that's what these movies are. Killer of Killers was fun, Prey was fun. I'm excited to see what we're going to get with Badlands, and also after that, I kind of love the idea of having this, like, greatest warriors of history in space and time movie concept, mishmash battle royale thing with fighting a predator with xenomorph skeletons on his back. That seems way more compelling to me than doing an AVP crossover, as much as I think they can do that well, because the last two AVP movies were not good.
I have a soft spot for the first one, but that other
not
one
aged well.
was a bad time.
Bad.
The Predator overall, though, like as a thing, should be a genre. The Predator genre, like they've already pulled the trigger on it with Killer of Killers. That's such a good proof of concept of, hey, what if we just dropped a Predator into X time period, whether that's a feudal Japan setting or maybe some sort of where are we dropping, boys? Hopefully, some point in the future on an unknown planet with various bits of technology to get stuck into. But like I said, it feels pretty good right now.